Today we've got a very special guest. His name is Anti.prophet. You might have seen him on your socials, on YouTube. He's one of the fastest growing creators in the world, having amassed over 1.5 million on YouTube in the last 2 years. And from what I've seen today, you've posted 500 videos exactly. So congratulations.
Yeah, thanks, man. I actually didn't even notice that I reached that milestone, so good pointing that out.
Today we're going to be trying Indonesian food. Have you got much experience of Indonesia or food here in particular?
Yeah, I've been living here for almost 2 years at this point, so I've had a lot. I wouldn't say that I've had like the craziest stuff in the world, but I really like it. It's good stuff.
How would you say it compares with other cuisines you've had in the world? And I ask this because you're wearing a mask. No one knows your identity, so you can be as brutally honest as you want to be.
I would say Indonesian food kind of ranks towards the lower echelon of Asian cuisines that I've had. However, if you know what to get here, it can skyrocket up to the upper echelons. But you have to get the right things. So, for example, I'm a huge fan of Babi Guling, but specifically, you have to know where to get Babi Guling because there's a really, really bad Babi Guling. So, if you know where to get it, it's good.
Anti.prophet, here we have Babi Guling, your favorite Indonesian dish.
Excellent.
I thought we'll keep you as happy as possible today.
Okay.
And why in particular you like Babi Guling?
You know, I'm a really big fan of this piece specifically right here. It's the pork fat. This right here, I don't know why, is just like heaven. Every time I put it into my mouth, it's delicious. However, I have to admit, I've never tried to put it into my mouth with a mask on.
So. Oh yeah, I was going to say, this could be quite difficult.
Yeah, we'll see. Okay, here you go. Okay, when that happens.
Yeah?
Oh my God. Yeah, every time I have it, delicious. The soup, delicious. The sausage, delicious. Super, super good.
You know, Babi Guling isn't eaten around Indonesia. It's quite specific to Bali. Some parts of Sumatra as well have Babi Guling. But when people think about Indonesian food, they generally don't think about Babi Guling unless you're talking specifically about Bali.
I know everyone from Java is like watching this episode, and the first thing that comes out of my mouth is Babi Guling, and they're like, "Oh my God, this guling."
For me, this ticks all the boxes. I love there's a good amount of meat, vegetables, rice, perfect amount of spice. It's not too much. And I love how they've got the soup on the side, because sometimes I'm not too much of a fan of soups generally, but just a tiny bit of soup. I mean, you can control how much soup you have. Big fan.
It's really nice. It's super cheap if you get here too. I think like for a plate like this, it's what, like 45K or something like that. Super, super reasonable.
Why did you choose Indonesia in the first place?
The reason I came to Bali in the first place was because I was hired by a pretty large influencer to come here and kind of work remotely to manage his 15-person team. So I came over here to do that, and eventually I ended up going and doing my own thing with Anti.prophet, and I ended up staying here because, I don't know, there's something really special about the island, and this is going to sound cliche, but the people here are so kind. I think my issue with living in the US right now, which is where I'm from, and the West in general, is people are in a pretty rough place mentally at the moment. It seems like everyone thinks that everything is just really falling apart pretty much like 24/7, and that's a difficult mindset to keep yourself inside of over a long period of time. And coming here, it's funny because you see people in the local community who obviously make substantially less than someone back in America would make, but they're like 20 times happier than the person back in America. So it's kind of an amazing feeling to be here, to hang out with the locals, to hire the locals as well, and kind of try and, give back to the community in that way. And the beach is nice too.
And the beach is nice. Here in Canggu, a nice black sand beach.
Yes, exactly. It's funny. I actually never really go to the beach. I'm not much of a beach guy, but the thing that I've actually found myself much more drawn to than I originally thought was the jungle. And I don't know why. I've never been around the jungle all that much, but my mother is from Guatemala, which is obviously very jungly, and I wonder if that kind of has something to do with it. I don't know.
Indonesia is known to be, pretty religious. Do you feel safe being here?
I do.
Especially with what you do?
Yeah, I mean, that's a fair point. I think as of the last couple of weeks, I've been posting about Israel and Gaza, and obviously that's definitely a hot topic issue here in Indonesia. But, I think maybe to that degree, it is kind of nice having the mask for that purpose. But I think ultimately, the thing that I try and hold myself to with the mask is if I'm going to say something on camera with the mask, I need to be comfortable saying it without a mask as well. So to a certain degree, I don't think it would really even affect like what it is that I say about anything to do with Israel and Gaza or Islam in general, with or without the mask.
The reason I ask that is earlier this week, I got cancelled, you could say.
Oh, did you?
For something which I didn't realize could trigger so many people here in Indonesia. So
what was it?
I introduced a dish. The dish was called lemper, and I introduced it as pastel. I posted on Instagram, and within the first 2 hours, I was at the airport flying into Bali. First 2 hours, I received over 2,500 comments, basically telling me to do an apology video, a clarification, saying people telling me I don't do my research here in Indonesia. I'm trying to spread information about Indonesian food to the world, and there's me pronouncing the names wrong. And anyway, I made an apology video, I clarified it, and everyone's like, it's okay, just don't do it again. And I said, okay, that's fine. But I mean, I'm surprised you haven't done more apology videos.
Yeah, no, I think ultimately, I don't really give a what people think about what it is that I have to say. I think when it comes to anti-prophet, my general rule is, not just for me, but for my followers, is if you like what I have to say, stick around. If you don't, no one's shoving the content down your throat. But yeah, I think it's super cool that you can just be like, hey, my bad, won't happen again, and everyone's like, yeah, cool, awesome. Like that's the way an interaction should work in real life anyway. So it's cool to see that with you, like that's how it played out online, because sometimes it doesn't, and that's cool that your audience is like, yeah, man, we love you.
Anyway, on that note, it's time for the second dish.
All right, excellent.
So next up, we have got my favorite Indonesian dish. We have got Nasi Uduk with beef rendang. Well, it's not actually beef, it's chicken rendang.
Fabulous.
Yeah, we've got some bihun as well, some tempeh, as well as some potatoes.
This is like the closest anyone's ever gonna get to a face reveal as me eating this food. Wow, that's so good. Okay, let's see if I can get this chicken in my mouth. Oh.
This is so difficult for you.
Wow, that's super good too. Damn. Where's this from?
It's home cooked in our kitchen.
Yo. This is some good. You're gonna have to hook me up with that private chef, man.
So the reason why I love it so much is that this rice isn't normal rice. This is coconut. This is rice fused with coconut.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say this rice is like way better than like rice that I generally order around town.
We've also got rendang here. Are you familiar with rendang? You tried it before? But instead of going for beef, I've had too much beef this week. I've gone for chicken this time.
Okay.
Something a bit different, a bit leaner, but tastes just as good in my opinion. And then we've got some of this tempeh as well, which is it's got like a nice sauce around it. So it's not dry like regular tempeh.
Like usual stuff, yeah.
But blended together, for me, this is one of my probably my favorite Indonesian go-to dish.
This is pretty tasty, man. This is really, really good. This makes me want to eat more tempeh. I used to eat more tempeh when I first got to Bali, and then I kind of dropped off, but this is like making me feel like I want to eat more.
You don't really get tempeh in the States or in the UK.
I wouldn't even know where to get it.
No?
Over there, yeah, I have no idea. Do they have Indonesian food in UK?
Mate, it's so hard to find.
Yeah, I mean, I'm from Salt Lake City, Utah, where like the most exotic thing is like Mexican food, so I kind of doubt there's any Indonesian food in Salt Lake.
But yeah, 6,500 dishes here in Indonesia. Did you think there would be that many? And how many of that 6,500 do you reckon you've tried?
That last question is kind of embarrassing. Probably like 15.
Okay. I mean, that's a lot more than most foreigners who I have on the show.
Yeah, no, I've definitely had a number of dishes, but I mean, having that many dishes in general in Indonesia is incredible because like in the States we have like maybe 10 like national dishes. In the UK you probably, no offense, have like 3 national dishes.
Probably 1 even.
It's like shepherd's pie, right? It's like
shepherd's pie, yeah. Cornish pasty and fish and chips. Yeah, 3.
Fish and chips, yeah.
There you go.
God, you guys and your vinegar, dude, it's so gross.
Mate, and tikka masala. The British invented the tikka masala. So
shut up, that's not real, really?
Serious, yeah. It was an Indian in England, so.
Damn, I don't know how to feel about that.
Tikka masala, let's go.
No, damn. Colonialism all the way. That's hilarious.
Anyway, the question I wanted to ask you anyway was, are you trying to get attention? Are you trying to be controversial? Is that like one of your agendas?
No. The purpose of wearing the mask is simply to give people the ability to listen to my content, not see a person giving them an opinion, but instead kind of see like a white blank face that they can potentially then see themselves inside of, sort of reflected off of. They can try on my ideas for the length of my video, and if they don't like my ideas at the end of the video, they can cast them off. And I think that's a lot easier to do with a blank face rather than with like my actual face talking to a camera, because I think with that, whenever you hear someone share an opinion, even if they're saying like, oh, like maybe think about this, when you see their face, it almost feels like they're talking to you and they're telling you what to believe.
Yep.
And I feel like with this, it just gives that necessary amount of space for people to just to be able to form their own opinions at the end of what it is that I'm saying, rather than me shoving some opinion down their throat.
Third dish, Martabak Manis. You may open your eyes.
Oh, hell yeah. I love this stuff. It's so good.
You tried this before?
I have, yes. The first time I had this was on a hike that I did to Kauai Ijen.
Ijen, okay.
Yeah, they served it right there at the top. That was really, really nice. And then one night I was filming really, really late with my camera guy. And he came over at like 11:30 p.m. to start our like filming session. He brought some of this.
I mean, 11:30 p.m. to have Martabak, that is a dangerous time to eat this.
That's true. That's true.
And also, I'm quite surprised people were serving this on top of a volcano.
Yeah, it was like our little breakfast up there, and I thought it was really, really good. It was like the perfect heaviness to like get you full, but like not screw you over at the top of the hike. It was really good.
Okay. Makan.
Oh yeah, dude. It's so good. Oh yeah.
This is for me heaven on a plate. I can't have it too often, but when I do, it's a special occasion. Like, I should be wearing a batik shirt right now. This is that special. Wow.
Yeah. It's really, really rich, really flavorful, but it's still, I don't know if this is actually me just projecting my own feelings onto this dessert, but it tastes kind of natural too. It doesn't really taste like someone just dumped like high fructose corn syrup on it. You know what I mean? Like it still feels like an actual like dish made of like real ingredients.
For me, it's like mixture between a crumpet, a pancake. There's stuffed some chocolate and peanuts inside in the middle.
This would be the kind of thing that would do well in Salt Lake City, Utah. So if you're watching from Salt Lake City, Utah, make this dish and sell it downtown near Pioneer Park. You will make so much money. I already know.
I wouldn't be surprised if there's an anti-prophet Martabak stand in Salt Lake.
Maybe that's the next way that I monetize. That's actually really good. That's a good idea. I'll tell you what, I'll start my own interview series where I'm trying dishes around the world and interviewing people, and I won't give you credit. How about that?
Anything to spread Martabak Manis around the world.
Man, that's how committed to the cause you are. Damn, that's commitment right there, my friend. If someone legit tried to like open like a shop with these things done well, it would do really well if they had like proper marketing and like their Instagram campaign or whatever. But it's good stuff. It's all cohesive too. You put it all under one roof, under one restaurant, and like it paints a picture of like a place in the world. It's really, really cool.
Have you explored much of Indonesia in terms of, have you been to Selamat or Jakarta or Sulawesi? Have you tried any, and if you have you tried any of the local food in those places?
No. I've been to Jakarta. I went to Jakarta actually for the first time about a month and a half ago.
Wow.
Yeah, a friend of mine called me up and he was like, hey man, I know this is kind of short notice, but I know the tour manager for Coldplay, and I got free VIP tickets, and we're invited to the after party with Chris Martin. Do you want to go?
No way.
It's tomorrow. And I was like, yeah, I'll go. So went to Jakarta, checked it out. I did not talk to Chris Martin because he, like, the policy was that we were not to talk to him unless he, like, talked to us. And they even, like, had us take our phones out and they put stickers over the cameras because they didn't want us, like, taking pictures and stuff, you know? But he was, like, between where I am and, like, the end of your shoulder. But I didn't talk to him, so. I don't listen to a lot of Coldplay, but, like, obviously, like, I know, like, the classics like Clocks and, like, Paradise and, you know, Yellow.
Yellow, yeah.
And it was really cool to see live. I can see why a lot of people, even if they're kind of like meh about like Coldplay in general, go to that kind of concert and they're like, that was an incredible production. It really was something. And unfortunately, I don't remember the name of the band who opened or the name of the band who came and played in the middle of the concert, but those two bands were incredibly talented as well. That was a real joy to watch those musicians on stage. Something I don't think we've talked about yet. Previous to social media, I was actually a professional violinist. That's what I've played violin for 27 years. So yeah, it's really great to see like really, really great musicianship in different countries that I go. And those two bands in particular, if you're watching and you're from Indonesia and you know what bands I'm talking about from the Coldplay concert, those guys rock.
Now I'm going to talk about Indonesia as a general. Is there anything you'd like to see change in Indonesia?
I would like to be able to go to an electronics store and have things in stock. That would be really nice. This is kind of messed up. That's literally the only thing.
That's the only thing, just for it to be stuck in an electronics store.
It's that. And also shipping stuff here is just so expensive. Like, please. The shipping tariffs, like, come on. I'm getting something sent from my mom. I don't have to pay 80% tax on something from my mom. That I think honestly those are the two only things. Just because ultimately the other thing to keep in mind is that like this isn't my country, you know? Like the citizens here, the people who live here have the right to determine how they want to live life, and if the way things look right now is at least partially representative of what they want in their country, then great. I'm a guest here at the end of the day. But if you could keep those electronic stores stocked, that would be super great.
So, anti-prophet, we have come to the end of our family dinner.
Yes.
So, to round it off, I'm going to ask you a couple of quick-fire round questions.
Okay,
All
great.
right? How are you with quick-fire questions?
I'm pretty good. Do you want like one sentence or like...
However you want to answer. I mean, they're not very long answers.
Okay, great.
Okay, so ready?
I'm ready.
Who would you want to eat an Indonesian dish with most in the world?
I would love to eat an Indonesian dish with my late father. I think it would be a lot of fun to watch him eat some Babi Guling.
Some Babi Guling, okay. If you could change one thing in the world, what would it be?
More people tell the truth.
Okay. What is your biggest fear?
Looking dumb or feeling like I've done something bad.
So is that why you got a mask on?
It could be. We may have just pulled back the trauma more than we should have on that one.
And finally, what is your favorite thing about Indonesia?
The people and the jungle. I don't know what it is about those two things, but again, coming from Guatemala with my mother's heritage, I feel like there's just something about that part of the family that kind of connects me to this type of geography. That sounds like very ubud woo-woo, like, but there's something about the jungle here that's like almost a spiritual experience for me. And like I said earlier as well, the people are kind. The people will literally give you the shirt off their back in order to help you with any problem that you have if you're in legitimate trouble. And that is not something that you can find in the majority of the world.
That's very true. I think that's a lovely place to end the video. But before we finish it completely, the food which you had today, I mean, you tried my favorite food. We tried your favorite dish. We also tried Martabak Manis. For me, I'd give a 10 for all of them in all categories. Your honest review of the 3 dishes we tried. Could you rate them?
Yes. Babi Guling. This one goes to 11.
11. Wow.
The second dish, I really that coconut rice, dude. That was a legit 10. That's not even me like trying to like, you know, butter your muffin or anything. That was legit good. The chicken and the tempeh, I would give an 8.5.
Okay.
I thought that was really tasty. And the martabak, same kind of thing. It's really good, but I feel like if I rated a 10, it's actually going to make me eat it more often, which is then going to like add here. So I think for my own psychological safety, I'm going to call it a 7.5, even though it's a 9.5. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think it would go too well with all the Babi Guling you have from Minlari. So yeah. Not sponsored, by the way. Anything you'd like to say to this camera over here before you finish?
Give this guy a follow. If you want to check out my content, you can find me on all platforms at anti.prophet. That's prophet, as in religious prophet, which I am not capitalistic prophet.
Yeah, mate, that's it. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Awesome.